Hello everyone, you're watching SK Live. I'm your host Indranil Basu. Today we have Mr. Nayan Doshi with us. He's a left-arm spinner, obviously an English player. He's been playing county cricket for so many years. Nayan, for how many decades have you been playing county cricket?
I played in totally county cricket for about 7 years, and then I moved to India to play in the IPL, and I played some Ranji Trophy over there. So yeah, I played for quite a few years. So it was
The
very
time you,
enjoyable indeed.
the time you played the Ranji Trophy here for Saurashtra, I think
Yeah,
they made a rule, BCCI, to allow few foreign cricketers to come and play domestic cricket. And that's how you played, right?
yeah. And after that, that rule was scrapped. So
Yes.
yeah, I got out in the nick of time. But yeah, it was a great experience. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really, and before T20, for the audience who joined just now, before T20 came to India, Nayan was already a hero over there in England, way back in 2005, 6 and 7. And if I'm not wrong, you're the fastest to get to 50 T20 wickets in the world, isn't it?
Yes, yes, I am. I am.
That's
Yeah.
Can you just describe that part when India was not ready to embrace T20 cricket? T20 cricket was all over England, and how was that? That phase when and people said it's not for spinners, and spinners started, and you're the one to show the world that spinners can take wickets before the Shane Warnes and what he did in 2008 for Rajasthan Royals. I remember that phase. So tell us about that part of your career in 2005 onwards, and the T20 cricket, how it had an impact in your life.
I think what it did, the first thing what it did was it brought a lot of audiences. It brought a big crowd to the games and everything, which really lifted the cricket in a big way. It got a lot of younger players involved. I remember in England it used to be taken really seriously because of the large number of crowds. If you have a lot of people watching you, tens of thousands, 30,000 odd people, 40,000 people watching you, then of course it's a very serious thing because no one wants to look a fool in front of a lot of people. So, people were taking it very seriously. It was something I think all the players found really exciting. The atmosphere was great again because of the crowds, and it's very strange because when we were kids, especially here in the UK, we've all grown up playing 20 overs cricket as we were kids, so that was also a fun factor. So I think everyone could sort of relate to it. And we had a fantastic side, and yeah, it was just really good. We just used to take it very seriously, and it was a competition which everyone wanted to win, and it was a great thing. And I think it's done world cricket the world of good because it just made the game that much more popular. Because I feel T20 is the sort of basis where if you get a young kid or someone who doesn't know anything about cricket, the first way to get him interested is in T20 cricket. Once he does that, then he will automatically like the longer form because then he will find that very interesting. And I think it's a
Absolutely,
great pathway to it.
absolutely, and the impression about spinners would be hammered all over the park in the shortest format of the game. It all changed with spinners making so much of impact.
Yeah, that was always nice. I guess because common sense will say, okay, it should be easy to hit spin because it's bowled slower, and you know, how can you stop a guy from hitting sixes? Because when you associate hitting sixes, before it used to be like, oh, spinners, you know, fast bowlers wouldn't, you would never really think of hitting a fast bowler for many sixes. It was generally people say, oh, I hit spinners for big sixes. But I think it's a mindset thing. For me, I always approached it as not to try and create dot balls, but bowl to take wickets, because the thing which stops um, runs being scored is wickets. That's the oxygen, as my dad always says. It's the oxygen. So, that's one thing I always just used to try and attack. And I was actually very fortunate at Surrey because spin was always used as as an attacking option.
Yeah.
So, so for us, the captain and coaches just said, just go and do your stuff and get him out and try and attack. And that gave me a lot of confidence. And I'm very grateful for that.
And that's why you're still with the game. The confidence is something which never dies. Cricket never goes out. You're perhaps has a distinction this time. You're the oldest player at the IPL
Hmm.
auction
Yeah,
2021.
yeah.
That's something that how passion has driven you all throughout your career. That's something really worth mentioning.
Thank you. To be honest, I've never thought about my age, and I learned this actually from my dad, because my dad never really doesn't think of age as any sort of barrier. In fact, he always thinks of age, and I agree with him, as a positive, because you're more experienced, you have more to offer,
Yeah,
as long as, of course, you keep yourself fit. You know, it's one should not ever dwell on age. If you're fit enough, good enough, everyone has to earn their place, no matter what age they are. The principle is the
absolutely.
same.
Absolutely. And other day we had Mr. Imran Tahir. He's 41. He's almost your age, and
Yeah,
he's still going so strong. And
yeah, and he's
that's
getting
what.
better.
Once cricket is there inside a cricketer, it's very tough to take it out.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. It's true, because it's also, if you look at it, there is not one game in the world which is more time consuming than cricket.
Yeah,
So it literally becomes part of your life. There's not a game in the world which is played over 4 or 5 days, or one day, or 4 hours, 3.5 hours in the case of T20. So it really does become totally part of your life, because it's so time consuming.
absolutely. And T20 is also given a longevity to all the cricketers, because otherwise fitness was, age was a number. A lot of issues were raised about one day cricket when players, beyond 35. But T20 has just given so much of, fresh lease of life for people who love their game, people like you who still love the game and love bowling and love taking challenges.
Yes, because that's how life is interesting. If you take on challenges, if you like to
Yeah,
test yourself and keep trying to get better, then it's all about challenges. And if you can accept a challenge, and if you can keep trying to improve, nothing can stop you.
absolutely. Talking about challenge, it must have been quite challenging playing for Surrey and with teammates like Anil Kumble, Harbhajan Singh, and Shakleen Mushtaq, the top quality spinners we have seen in world cricketing from yesteryears. You played
Yeah,
against them, with them. So, I mean,
yeah.
can you describe your experiences with these stalwarts?
Um, First experience with Suckling, who I
Yes,
would say is, before he got his knee injuries and everything. Um, I would say Suckling is the one who really changed spin bowling, because
yeah,
he's the one who got the doosra. He changed off spin bowling and spin bowling. And this is what he did, and this was his genius. And it's the most skillful off spinner I have ever seen in my life. He was a true magician. And
yeah,
he's an amazing man. And yeah, I mean, what he did against India at that time, when he came to India and he beat India in India, when all the Indian great batsmen of the modern generation were all in one team. They were at the peak of their powers,
yeah,
and no one's done that. He did that
yeah,
on his own,
yeah,
and it just shows how great he was. And then there was Bhaji, who, again, absolute great bowler for me. I think, from what I've seen, he's the greatest off spinner India has produced. And obviously Ashwin is also a fine bowler.
yeah,
And again, I think Bhaji is also, he's an impact bowler. He's also the sort of guy with the personality who can come in, change a game. Of course, being that good, you also have a lot of self-confidence. And he's always a very bubbly, lively person, great to be around, and just also an outstanding bowler, and very, very intelligent bowler as well. He's also absolute champion. And
and
then there is,
Kumble.
Kumble, for me, um, I would say he is one of someone I look as a mentor and a real inspiration. And you know, he's for me, he is India's greatest match winner.
Absolutely.
He and I don't know how many people are gonna to sort of live up to that, but he's on a different planet. What he's done, with the game, with the ball, and again as a person as well, he gave me a lot of time at Surrey and at Bangalore, and he was very helpful, guidance. He was always there, very very generous with his time. And again, when you realize you're speaking to him, you don't realize you're speaking to him because he's just so laid back and a normal human being that after a few minutes you kind of realize, oh, I'm speaking to the great man. So yeah, it's amazingly inspirational.
Absolutely. And well, there are people who found it otherwise. When he was the Indian team coach, he was they thought he was overpowering. But that's the aura of a big player, big match player. They always carry that.
Well, again,
That
I mean, I've shared a dressing room with him. I've been under his captaincy. I've played alongside with him at Surrey, and
sorry.
I think that is also up to a lot of people to decide themselves, because I've never had that experience with him. I've always find him to be absolutely supportive, humble,
That
and
yeah,
look, when you're that big a player, if you say something, whatever you say, even if you say hello, it's got more weight on it than someone else saying hello. So I think it's a
absolutely.
lot of how other people perceive it. And he's a very straightforward guy, and a lot of people don't like people being
Yeah,
very straightforward, and that's what he is.
yeah. And then after Surrey, he also had the distinction of playing with a lot of leading county sides at Derbyshire, then
Yeah.
Warwickshire, Middlesex. I mean, tell
Mhm.
me how was the experience? I remember one of my friends from Indian cricket, Mr. Virender Sehwag, once went to play in the county
Leicester.
circuit and Leicester, and he was quite sort of I mean disturbed with the fact, not disturbed. He was like quite amused by the fact that for every little gathering he had to wear a suit. He had to be so, so tell me something about that culture, which is nice. Cricketers are supposed to be gentlemen, and they
Yeah.
when they're playing the game, you should be properly dressed, which is what cricket teaches you. You have to be
Yep.
cleanly dressed. The hygiene should be good. So tell me something about this county culture of being having the hygiene bit. So I mean, such a priority over there.
Yeah, look, I think it's very important because some traditions are really good. And I think that was a great tradition. It sort of built a little bit of a team unity and everything. So the first couple of seasons, even when I played, that was the case, and everyone really enjoyed it. It was kind of nice. But after that, things got a little bit more informal, because what county cricket does do is there is a lot of travelling. So, then to be sitting in a car driving from London to Manchester or Yorkshire, it's a very long drive. So I think then the management kind of realized, okay, guys, you can travel in a tracksuit, but it has to be a nice team tracksuit, because
Yeah,
having driving in a shirt and tie and trousers and shoes for 4 or 5 hours, it can also be quite taxing. So it did change a little bit. So Viru might have preferred the later bit, but yeah, otherwise it was really good to keep some traditions. It was very nice, definitely.
they say if you want to really become a complete cricketer, you've got to play county cricket. And this is the saying which is there in England. I mean, outside England, in Australia, in South Africa, in India. Whenever you're
Yeah,
struggling with your
I think that's very true, because um, you play a lot of games, and for any cricketer to play, matches is everything. You can bowl for hours in the nets, but unless you don't have that match experience under different conditions, different weather, everything, it makes you a complete cricketer. So yes, I do believe that. And there's been a lot of examples, great cricketers who have gone struggling, gone to play county cricket, done well, and it's changed them totally. So I do think it's yes, there is a lot of truth in that.
And
100%.
I mean, you're a sort of example before me right now. You played so much of county cricket and 40 plus, still going strong, still
Yeah.
performing in leagues. And recently, you've been playing some T20 matches as well, right? To keep yourself in shape and all that.
Yeah, so I've been playing for a club called Brondesbury,
Okay.
which is a Middlesex Premier League club, and we played as much as we could in COVID. It's basically the best league in London, so it's a very good league, and we played quite a few games this year. And yeah, touch wood, things went really well. So now I'm just looking to kick on and get back
Did
to where I
Saurav
was.
did Saurav Ganguly play one of these leagues? The one you
Yes, he
mentioned?
played for yes Brondesbury. He played for the
Okay.
same club. Or
Yeah, yeah.
I should say I played for the same club as him.
No, it's just this. You're still playing for that club. So
Yeah.
tell me, Nayan, I mean, what's with bowling in T20 as a left armer? I've played a little bit of league matches here and there around Delhi. So I see every team in the shorter format, especially 40 over matches and 20 over matches, they're obsessed with having a more than merrier kind of a thing with left arm spinners. What is the secret of bowling in a T20 game as far as left arm spin is concerned? Can you tell us?
Um, I think there are no secrets. I think the main thing is number one. I think as a spinner or as a bowler in general, you have to be able to analyze the batsman and also kind of outthink him. And the main thing is, I've always gone by the theory, and this works for me, is knowing to bowl to your strength. Because
Okay.
if I, as a bowler, tried to say, okay, I don't want to bowl to the batsman there because that's his strength, no, I need to dictate the terms. So I need to bowl to my strength. So my strength is trying to spin the ball from the stumps. Some of them can go straight, some of them will turn, right? But basically, not to give the batsman room and to try and bowl, you know, at a good pace, quick spin, and try and basically beat the bat and not give him room. Because top players, if you bowl outside the off stump, that gives them room to either hit you on the leg side or the offside. So yeah, and just I think you got to in T20 cricket. I think they say the game is for youngsters. Um, I don't necessarily agree with that because
No,
I
it's
think
not.
that because it's a game for experience and being quick on their feet. Because a lot of young spinners forget how to spin the ball because after they've been hit for 2, 3 sixes, they suddenly start going very, very fast, very fast.
Yeah,
And that plays into the batsman's hands. So I think composure is a big thing, and I think that's the main thing is knowing your strengths and knowing your bowling, being able to adjust to this. I don't know if that
absolutely. And
makes sense.
of course it does. And I feel if you're not a bowler, if you're not getting hit, you're getting hit. You come back. That's a sort of a hallmark of a good fighter of a bowler. Come back
Yes.
strong. I've seen a lot of times last season when IPL was happening in Middle East. Jadeja was trying to bowl really fast when he was hammered, when he was tossing the ball up. You should never feel scared. But Jadeja has, of course, evolved himself very quickly.
Yes.
We saw him in the shorter formats of the game in Australia in the white ball cricket matches. He was quite a strength to reckon. Quite a powerful performer actually. Then in the test matches also he showed a lot of character. So
Yeah.
that's how you have to give a lot of revolution, a lot of air to the ball. You should not be scared of getting hit in T20,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, as a bowler, you shouldn't be scared to get hit anyways. Of course, no one likes to get hit, but it's part of the game.
It's part of
You
the
know,
game. That's how
batsmen are
it is.
going to get out, bowlers are going to get hit, but it's how you come back and then how you react and how you control the situation. You
Absolutely.
know,
And I remember you were part of that whole under Kumble, of course, the when you played for RCB and Rajasthan Royals. So how was the IPL then, and how is the IPL right now? I mean, do you see any change? The competition level, the quality of cricket which is being played, has it changed a lot? Is it the same or it's got more intense? What are your thoughts?
I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty much stayed the same. I mean, I think there's a lot more coverage in things.
Okay.
Otherwise there's still the big scores. You know, top players are always top players. There's still the big scores what you get in the game and everything. So I don't think that much has changed. I think one big change is that the faster bowlers have become better fielders. I
Okay.
think that's one of the. I think the top fielders have always been the top fielders. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, the best fielder I have seen is Ricky Ponting. I've never seen a better fielder than that, and
Yeah.
I don't think any of these guys can feel better than Ricky Ponting. And another guy who I would say close to that is a guy I played a lot with is Ricky Clark. I would say he's up there also. Those are the two best fielders I've seen, and I think Ravindra and some of the other guys in world cricket now are as good as them. I think those guys stayed the same. I mean, I'm sure you remember Andrew Simons. I don't think there's
Absolutely.
been a yeah. So I think those things have changed. I think fast bowlers have become better at fielding. They're a little more agile and everything. Otherwise, I think not a lot has changed in the game. Yeah, you play some people play, the scoop shots and everything. But again, Dilshan was playing the Dil scoop. We had Mal Loy in county cricket who used to basically on one knee, he used to get down on one knee and sweep the opening bowlers. So there have been players like that a lot. You know,
Absolutely. And looking at the way things have shaped, things have happened over the years. I think T20, as I talked about, the longevity has given longevity to a lot of players. I remember a lot of cricketers, they retired from international cricket, they continue to play in T20 leagues across the world. IPL being a very premier T20 tournament.
sure.
uh, Shane Warne, for instance. So it's actually, as long as you have the will to play, you can still continue to play, isn't it? That's the magic of
Yes,
T20.
yes, I agree. You have to have the will and the love and the passion. If you have those things, you can play. And I think it should be encouraged. You know,
Absolutely. Other day we had Mr. Monty Panesar also on our show, and we were discussing a lot of good memories he had from that 2012 tour where he got uh, that many wickets, and he was quite a powerful performer in that
he
series.
was indeed. Yeah,
Yeah, today we saw a glimpse of it when Mr. Jack Leach got the wicket of Rohit Sharma.
yeah,
That was a
yeah, yeah,
flag.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting how left-arm spinner, if they the get into the shape, get into the groove,
Yeah.
it's really exciting to watch a left-arm spinner bowl.
Yeah, it is because the ball spinning away from the bat is always exciting, and the batsman then has to watch for the natural variation, the one which doesn't spin. So it's always exciting to see spinners, especially left arm spinners. I will be biased because I'm a left arm spinner, but yeah, that was a very good ball he bowled to Rohit today. Yeah,
You talked about the ball leaving the right hander, so that's probably the reason why Kuldeep Yadav didn't get a place, even though they had to get someone from standby list to which is to play that test match in Chennai. So do you agree that Kuldeep Yadav, he's a left-arm Chinaman,
yeah,
so he's not been regular in the team. He's someone who can spin the ball
yeah.
and not making. What are your sentiments on him?
I mean, he's obviously waited for a long time. I think he hasn't played a test match for a long time. It's hard to say. You would suggest and think that it would be good for variation, you know, but then on the other hand, what Washington Sundar did today or yesterday, and he got those valuable runs, also then didn't leave India totally out of the game.
Yeah,
So it's kind of in a way balanced out in a way. I don't know. It's a tough call. Should he have played first inclination? Yes, but then what Washington did as an all rounder, He came in, he's batting at 7, and he got an amazing, I think, 85. Did he get 85?
Yeah,
Yeah.
85, unbeaten 85, yes.
And that was absolutely crucial at that stage of the game. So then he has basically done his job as well, really well. And India didn't have a deficit of 350,
Yeah,
which would have been the case if he hadn't got those 85 and
yeah.
back at the time. So it's really tough, that my first inclination was, oh, they should have played him. And then Washington Sundar did what he should have done. So it's, it kind of balanced out. So it was a tough one.
And Ravindra Jadeja not playing this particular test match and the series, that is also affecting the team badly, the balance of the team.
Oh, yeah.
Do you agree?
That's huge because on turning tracks, there is not a better bowler in world cricket than him. If it spins, he's going to win you a game because he spins it, he drives it into the pitch at that pace, bowls on the stumps, some spin, some don't at pace, and he's very, very accurate, So I definitely think he's the X factor out of both the sides. And I think that's why England have a better chance. And of course, they're showing that now of competing in the series because Ravindra is not playing. Because if he was, it would be heavily in India's favour on these wickets.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've played a lot of cricket with, and you've seen a lot of young Cheteshwar Pujara for Saurashtra when he was playing. Can you tell me some of the stories which are really gave you that sort of thought that he can really go a long, long way? Ye lambe race ka ghora hai. You got that feeling when you narrate some of the stories you have about Pujara during those days.
Chintu was always a quiet guy, so he used to like joking around sometimes. I can't remember everything now, but he was very focused, great powers of concentration, and he would just love to bat. Like he would always be doing something to improve his game, to bat, and you could just see, the amount of runs he scored, the way he used to score. And he used to take a lot of responsibility, and I think he just kind of knew because he was a gear above everyone else in domestic cricket, and he's now showing that he's a gear above 90% of the batsmen in the world because he is amongst the best players in the world, hands down.
So was a young Pujara, did he love batting in the nets for long hours like he does in matches?
Yes, and then he used to do as a lot of the guys in India do, which I think is a great thing. Is then he used to have a lot of throwdowns, and always keep working on things. He would always keep working on something. If he didn't feel it was right, he would constantly try to improve on that. So I think it was a very good thing, and he suffered also 2 knee operations, I think, and he had to work very hard to get those right. So I'm really happy for him. He's he is the rock.
He's
literally.
the rock. But we also need to compliment the England team the way they have been playing in subcontinent. That used to be the saying when you're a top team like in 70s, 80s we had the West Indies, the mighty West Indies, and the Australians came down. They were the invincibles. One thing they did, the West Indies in the 70s and 80s, they could go around all over the world and win matches. And England, even though they are not, they're the best side. They're certainly a top side, but they're showing a lot of consistency and coming down to a country like Sri Lanka, beating Sri Lanka, coming to India coming to play this test match at home after winning that historic Australian tour, and trying to push them, giving them sort of creating this sort of robust performance in the opening test match. It speaks volume about this team. Can you tell us how England, how serious? They definitely come. They've come to this country with a lot of planning. So
I think one of the things I like the most about this England team is Chris Silverwood, the coach, said, no matter what, I want 400 posted in every test match. Now, that is good old school cricket in the sense like you need runs on the board because bowlers need something to be able to bowl at. So I think the planning is very good. I think this England bowling unit is top draw, and I think the fact is that the skill level of the bowlers, because all of these England bowlers are fantastic at reverse swinging the ball. And I always say, a lot of people talk about spin in India, but I think teams which can also win are teams which can really reverse swing the ball, because that is very, very important. And this England team has that.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And sort of performance Joe Root has been giving with the bat. He's been simply outstanding. What a player! I mean, every time he goes out, he scores 100.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's 100 tests, 20 hundreds. Batting in England where he does at top of the order is not always easy. And to average in the high 40s is also really, really. He's a great player, and he's up there with the very, very top guys in the world. He's always up there. And he will be. I have no doubt when he finishes his career, because he's only 30, 31 and he's played 100 tests. So he will go down as one of the best players to have ever played the game as a batsman. I'm pretty sure of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And within 8 years, we have played 100 test matches, and many more to come. Many more to come. I also like the way they are rotating players. I mean, Indian team management, they are doing some. One of our viewers is asking any update on Navdeep Saini's injury. He's still doing his bid at National Cricket Academy. He's recuperating. He's going to soon join the team. He'll be fit for the next 2 test matches. But the regular ones who played well in Australia, like Siraj, he didn't get a place to play the Chennai Test match because of the rotation policy of the team. So this is the modern trend we are seeing in world cricket. They have so much talent, so many performers in the squad. They all want to rotate their players, especially fast bowlers. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not a fast bowler, but I know a lot of guys don't like to be rotated, and I know some which do, so I think it's a very personal thing. I think as a spinner, you never want to be rotated because once you bowl, you want to keep bowling. You want to keep bowling. Yes. I think that's fine, but I think it depends. People like, for example, people like Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah.
He's a rhythm bowler. He keeps himself supremely fit. He's very, sort of wiry and athletic. And, of course, there's a lot of stress on Jimmy's body, but, he can probably be without being rotated a lot because his action and everything is so easy as long as he gets some rest during the games and 5-6 days gap between the test match. Someone like him, no. Someone like, for example, Zahir Khan, when he was really hitting his rhythm, when he was bowling a lot, and again, going back to that time when he was at Worcester, he came back and he was a change bowler and he became a great fast bowler after that. Very intelligent, could bowl quick when he wanted to, and he had everything. And again, he was a rhythm bowler. The more he bowled, then you have the express guys like Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, people like that who bowl nearly 95 miles an hour.
Yeah.
They can't be bowling that every single test match. So maybe those express guys can do with a rotation here and there, So I just think it depends. I'm not sure about batters being rotated. I don't.
Wicket race, Butler is going to go back.
Again, is that wise after the team is doing well? It's only 4 test matches. It's not huge. I don't know. It's that also breaks the rhythm of a team as well.
Yeah.
In the middle of a series. If you do it after a series, it's okay. But in the middle of a series, if you rotate, especially the keeper, because he's used to keeping under those conditions, the match environment, he seems in some good batting form as well. So I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Nayan, when you're not playing regular matches, so how many hours do you put in to bowl in the nets? Like right
I've,
now, if you're playing a match today. I mean,
I've
how many
even
hours?
been bowl. Well, London is in lockdown, but I've even managed to just go to the park and just put a spot down and just do some bowling. So wherever I can, I'll put in an hour every day, as much as I can to be in tip-top shape, and just bowl away and see what comes into my head to work on for that day, and just obviously to keep as fit as possible.
Yeah. My colleague Shubhajit is asking that he's really surprised to see number of no balls being bowled by a left-arm spinner in Nadeem, Shahbaz Nadeem, who's just playing
Yeah.
this test match from the standby list. Is it due to lack of match practice? I mean,
No, I don't think it's lack of match practice. Sometimes maybe when you're not bowling so well and it's maybe a slow pitch, so maybe he's trying to get extra effort and really try, and then he's maybe overextending himself. A lot of that can also happen. Sometimes when you're anxious and things are not going exactly your way, you tend to do things faster and you're not as relaxed. So maybe he might be overstretching for that. I don't know, but that those could be one of the reasons.
we are seeing these two spinners, Jack Leach and Dom
Dom Best.
Best. Dom Best, yes. I mean, Best, of course, bowled well. Leach went for runs against Rishabh Pant in the first innings. But somewhere, that discipline is somehow missing. We just, the way Ashwin bowled and things like that, that sort of, discipline with the line and length, which is irrespective of whichever format you're playing, you have to be disciplined. So
Yes.
what are your thoughts? I thought, little bit, batting wise, England were right up there. Fielding was superb. The half chance they took throughout the test match. But the spinning bit, they one over, they're at least giving 1 to 2 boundary balls. Spinners, you can't do that. I mean, Indian bowlers like Nadeem is bowling a no ball. English spinners have straight down the leg stump on the pads. Indian batsmen are so good when you bowl towards the pad, towards the leg stump in the pad. So I mean, what are your thoughts? Regarding this little bit of weakness I can see in the English spin department.
I think a lot of it is for every spinner bowling in new conditions. Obviously, bowling in India, where it's traditional, the pitches will spin. Traditionally, Indian players are they're the best players of spin in the world. So I think this does add some amount of pressure to younger spinners who are not experienced. It's their first tour they're on. So there'll be a little bit of anxiousness. But I think as they bowled, they got better. Leach bowled quite well today. He was a lot better, especially once he got the wicket.
Yes.
He was a different bowler. So also they need to spend a little bit of time in the middle, to bowl and just to get their rhythm, which they seemed today. Even I think Best bowled a couple of overs. He was very accurate today. So it seems like they now feel relaxed what they have to do. And plus now, with more than 400 or now 380 or something needed to win, it's a lot more relaxing for them because they're in the driving seat and they know Indian batsmen are not right now going to take a lot of risks. So they can kind of bowl themselves into a rhythm as well. So it's a good opportunity for them to really set up for this whole series, this match.
What 15. Absolutely. And what is striking is because of T20, the margin of error for bowlers is so less. And if you do something really silly as a bowler, you're straying down the leg side in a test match, it's really glaring for someone who's watching the game from outside, isn't it?
Yeah, again, look, it can happen. Sometimes even the best bowlers have an odd session where things don't go their way, And like you said before, what we were discussing about learning and coming back strong, and the England spinners did that today. So I think it's a learning curve for them, and it's a confidence thing. Leach bowled that one ball. After that, he was a different bowler.
Absolutely.
He got that wicket. He was different.
It was different. Absolutely. And tomorrow morning, a lot of drama is there to be witnessed. But coming to this strange tradition which has started, practice which has started, not tradition, that if you get a chance to ask the opponent side to follow on, you don't do it because you want to give rest to your bowlers. Uh, I mean, is it like this in Days cricket in England? Does it happen like that in county cricket also?
It happens in all cricket. I think it just depends, on the rest, on everything. I think England should have been more aggressive slightly earlier. So, England has more time, So I think maybe there was an hour and a half wasted when England could have been more aggressive today, you
Well
know.
batting, well batting.
Yes, and made
Yeah,
India bat for longer today.
yeah,
That's but again, um tomorrow, if India is 8-9 down and the match is over, or if it's more than enough time and India have been bowled out by T, who knows? So it's one of these things, the captain and the coaches have to go with their gut.
yeah,
You know, my gut would be once that lead is past 350, for the
yeah.
next 7-8 overs, you just throw the bat, and even if you then get bowled out for 400, okay, that's enough.
Absolutely. So how
You
many
know,
how many how many years have you spent playing cricket in total, Nayan?
I started playing when I was 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 7, and until now, so long, many years.
Yeah. And it's in your blood. Your dad, very respected Dilip Doshi sir, he made his debut after 30 for India, and what
Yeah,
a remarkable performer. And whenever
yeah,
I ask people who have seen him bowl, people who have played with him, they said he was one of the most gutsy cricketers. We have one of the biggest fighters of the game. Once you give him the ball, he will do anything to make sure you win someone who's played with a broken leg
yeah,
in
yeah,
Australia, in Melbourne, and
yeah,
so what a brave heart, and
yeah.
good to see you. You're carrying that tradition of bowling, and swimming against the tide. You want to play IPL, and I wish you all the best, and you come
Thank
strong
you.
and get a good team,
Well,
and
look,
and
like I said, I'm ready, and I'm bowling the best I think I have done, and I'm the fittest I have been. I love the game, and I just want a chance to be able to prove myself again. And and just I love to play. I love the game, and that's all I want to do. And I would not have. Well, it started because when it comes to bowling, I want my dad to see, and to check. So, I decided in January they want to start playing again, and I said, but can you just check first to,
he
to
did.
see what do you think? He gave me a couple of weeks. He came and he said, because I wouldn't take anyone's opinion, and my dad being my dad, if he didn't think I was not bowling up to the mark, he would just say, don't do this. But he actually said, you definitely can still do this and more, because he was really happy. And for him to be happy, that means I'm doing
That's
something right. So
yeah,
so that's
and
so that's what I'm going by, you know,
yeah.
how I'm
Dad don't
feeling.
lie.
And
Dads don't lie. Moms don't lie. I
yeah,
can tell you
yeah,
that. They'll always correct you if there is something wrong. They'll always tell you what
exactly.
is right. And
Yeah,
if he's cleared you, it means you're right in shape. And I want to really see you bowling and tell the world age is just a number, man.
well, given a chance, I'll do my best again.
Absolutely. On that note, thanks a lot for coming on SK Live. It was a pleasure chatting with you. And
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
yeah,
much for having me.
and yes, and I hope to see you in one of the with one of the IPL teams. Uh, wielding your magic with your
It would be a
fingers.
dream again.
It's really really nice chatting with you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you
day,
so much.
and thank you so much for coming on SK Live. Cheers.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much. Thanks, man.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thanks.
Bye.